You are now listening to the Barrie J. Davies podcast. Please enjoy your stay.
All right there, peeps. You're welcome to the Barrie J. Davies podcast.
I'm Fanny Fielding.
And we have...
Beav, I'm Ian.
There you go. So today we're going to be talking art. Let's go for it, guys. Let's dive into it. So this is the first sort of, I'd say, podcast I've kind of ever recorded where I have guests.
Yay!
Fantastic. And because there was an artist called Bruce Asbestos. Bruce, if you're listening, this is not the one-man podcast anymore. So anyway, but I thought we'd invite some very, very interesting Brighton artists that if you've not heard of them, then you must check them out. We will be posting links to their web addresses at the end of this. Anyway, so we'll start with Mr. Fanny Fielding.
Hello.
And how would you describe
my work?
How did you get here?
How did I what?
How did you get here?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
I got the number 7 bus.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
And, that's about it, really. It was very, very busy on the number 7 bus. I normally go, because, I get up late sometimes.
Yeah.
Get on the bus, there's no one on it. It was rush hour, absolutely packed.
So, yeah. So, we're recording this on a Friday night, so it probably was rush hour in Brighton.
Yeah.
So, we've got drinks, we're all lubricated. This is good. So, how would you describe your work? If to a blind man.
Well, the thing is, I think a blind man would still get my work. I paint very traditional watercolours. Mm-hmm. But the twist with it is all the titles are very rude, sound like Pornhub videos. Not really swearing, but...
You are allowed to swear on this podcast.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well, my most famous... my most successful print, which recently I sold my 100th print of, is a picture of birds in the garden flying around some of those feeding sacks called Tits Around Fat Balls. In fact, it was one of the first pictures I actually sold. It was when I was running a coffee shop in Hitchin, and a sweet little old lady came and bought it. She just really liked it, I guess. And then 2 days later came back very red-faced asking for her money back.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I did give her the refund.
Yeah. So have you been an artist for a long time? Or
Well, my background has always been in TV, comedy, bit of animation, radio, as I said. Yeah. And the Fanny project has been a really good way to bring most of that together.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit of everything. I know. If people ask me if I'm an artist, it's a comedy project, really, but it's turned into something that I sell paintings. So I guess I am an artist, but it wasn't something. About 5 years ago, I set myself about 6 years ago, I set myself a 5-year plan to make money with my art, because that's all I know how to do, really. And so I sold my first painting proper in 6th year, so that's not too bad, is it?
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Did you always paint watercolours, or did you just try loads of different kinds of mediums and then ended up with watercolours, or how did you get to where you are now with your art?
I call my style A-level chic.
Right.
Because I'm basically painting exactly the same as I did in my A-level. Wow. Obviously, I think it's got a bit more technically competent, but I still see that style. And I use gouache as well. Gouache?
Yeah, I used to use that.
And, but I actually prefer watercolours. I find them quite forgiving. A lot of people say they're not. But whenever, because there's been such a gap between me doing art A-level and then suddenly me, much older, painting again, I can't help but be transported back and just feeling like I'm doing that that A-level painting that went wrong when I was painting it. I had to sneak it home so I could fix it. I was doing a chessboard and I'd started in opposite corners, so when I got to the middle there were two white squares together. So that's probably an unnecessary detail. But that was the sort of mistake I've made. I still make mistakes in my painting, but watercolour's good because you can go over things, I find,
Cool. No, I haven't done any watercolour painting. I mean, I used to work in an art shop years ago, and we used to sell like Winsor & Newton sets and the big sort of watercolours and stuff, and you'd get people to come in and they'd be like, I want to buy a Hake brush, and I'd be like, have you done any drawing yet? They'd be very sort of passionate about like, I want to paint something, and I'd be like, maybe you start with the drawing first. Do you do a lot of sketches or drawings first?
I sketch, but I mainly make collages out of photos that I take or images that I find, and I'll put them together on the computer just to get the balance right and the depth right and have an idea of what the colours are going to be, knock things back. And so your main, say the latest one I did was a donkey and some birds, which was called Tits and Ass. And I needed, because the donkey's head was quite big, and I needed the blue tits to kind of ping. So I just kind of have to work out what's going to be faded into the background and where the colours are meant to pop.
Magic. So yeah. Did you ever go down the watercolour route, Ian?
No, I am not particularly good at watercolour. I did use gouache though, and I used that when I was at college. And I found that gouache, the life of a gouache paint doesn't last so long, and then it starts to smell if you don't use it. Did you find that? And it gets, the tubes will get hard and it cracks, and if you don't treat it when you've painted the canvas, it always seems to crack and powder off. I found anyway, so I changed onto acrylic, and I found that I can work faster with that, and it seems to have like a plasticky kind of seal.
Okay.
I mean, I'm quite impatient, so I like to do something, then get on with the next bit, and then I want it to dry quickly. So I tried oils, but I'm just too impatient with oils because they just take forever to dry, and if they ever
exactly
do.
They don't sometimes, do they?
Yeah, that's it. But for years I used gouache and I loved it. But then it's just because I was familiar with it from college, and I just went on to acrylic, and that was only 5-6 years ago. I went on to acrylic and loved it and not gone back. Yeah,
no, that's great.
I mean, I'd used it before, but I've just kind of was used to the medium because you can mix up a gouache, so it can be really watery like watercolour, but you can also make it really thick as well. You've got that options, and you could also put like a thickener into it to give it a little texture to it, which I quite like because.
Well, you don't get the texture with watercolour. I mean, the trick with the real skill with watercolour is not getting the paper to bubble. So I use board. That's not going anywhere, and it's great when you've got these paintings on board that you haven't framed yet, because you can kick them about a bit. You might dent the corners, but I always like paint with a big border. So it works for me, and they store quite well. You don't have to worry about them bending and folding and stuff. So. Double bubble.
So anyway, as part of the podcast, we have Ian, aka
Beav. Hello.
How would you describe your work then? Sorry.
It's B-movie, folklore and mythology, really. That sort of style. And I kind of got onto it because I've always loved things with monsters. I used to always like to watch films with monsters or anything that was like sci-fi, fantasy, fictional. I just love it, And I started painting them because I couldn't see anything out there in Brighton at the time when I was doing it, and I thought, why not? No one else is doing it. Let's try it and see what happens. The last show
that I went to was fantastic. It was just like, wow, I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, really?
It was really exciting to see. I was like, wow, I want to see more of these bigger, bolder. But yeah, I was just like, wow.
Are they big pictures?
Yeah, they're big canvases. Yeah.
Okay.
32 by 40 inch canvases, so they're quite big.
So a film poster.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to have that impact, so you see it as a big.
Yeah.
You can't have a big monster on a small canvas. So I thought work big, and then it has that impact. And then I always want to have a big movie title. I think the fun thing is sometimes I have a title straight away, and then sometimes I don't. I mean, I'd love to know how you come up with the titles for your things, because you must be chuckling to yourself a lot of the time. Because when I read your titles for your ones, I am laughing sometimes,
right?
Because you just look at them and you think, "Oh, this is a lovely painting," and then you think, that title's genius.
Well, that is kind of sort of the idea, really. Yeah, but yeah, I get inspiration from. It's just what people say, what you read, or just think. I mean, I literally got one just now that I was in your bathroom, Barry, and there's a picture of Dot Cotton on top of the cistern, one of Barry's paintings, and I thought this is quite a normal bathroom, except Dot Cotton is looking at my tackle, and I thought I haven't done a tackle painting yet, so that's going to be kicking around in there now for the next few days.
See, that was going to like a notebook on my phone, because that's what I do. I've got my notebook on my iPhone, and I write things into my phone because I'll either forget it or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have it takes about half an hour to scroll through my list in Notepad of ones that I've got.
It must be all quite similar, because I have a list as well, and I add them on. I think, oh yeah, I'll see like the clock tower in Brighton. I'm like, I'm going to paint that next, right? Or the pier, or I'm going to paint that next, but I need to figure out what monster's going to go on that. So I'll make a list and think clock tower, figure out the monster, then work out the title as I'm painting or after. Or
so we're quite analytical artists in a way.
Yeah,
analyse and list make and quite strategic.
I think it's good though. I think it's good because if at the end of it, if you get a period where you're like, I've kind of stuck for ideas, and you can go back and think, I know what I'm going to do with that now. Yeah. So it kind of, when you get, I mean, I know artists and musicians always have that fear of having a drought, don't they? So if we get to that point, we've all got a list, and we can still go back.
Well, maybe we should, if it runs dry, we should read through the top 3 things in our list, unedited, that we've got written down in our notepads.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad I'm not just the only one that does that.
Oh, I'll be lost without it. Seriously, words. And then because I have when I'm painting, I have like a whiteboard which I check in. So if I've got an hours here, then I write down how many done and the price of my hourly rate and what I do. So
you're very methodical. Wow.
But it wasn't just. For ages I was never sure how to price my work. And I just thought I'd overpriced it or I've underpriced it, and then I thought, well, what's my hourly rate? What's the material to use? How much is the cost of it for me to create this? And I have a whiteboard that I check in every time I paint. So if I'm doing 2 hours, right, I'll do that.
It'd be good when you get your accountant sorted, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I knew how to do that, that'd be fine. Yeah.
Your accountant going, how much have you spent on paint this year? How much have you spent on doing this, and this? And there you go. Right, I've worked it all out for you. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, it would just be nice. I have an Excel spreadsheet with it all as well after, because I am. Yeah, if I don't,
but it sounds like you obviously sell a lot of paintings, and this is a good thing.
Not as much as I'd like, but I do make enough. Yeah,
okay.
Enough, which is okay. I mean, but then I think it's just like, because we're constantly trying to get into another exhibition or trying to get into the next thing, and you do have like some months you will make a lot, and then other months nothing. It's just finding the right thing that suits you, getting in the right crowd, and just knowing your audience. And the more you do it, the more you get used to understanding your audience and knowing locations that are better for you. I mean, I am quite inspired by the way that Barrie does it, because he's seriously, you seem to be on it with your what you're doing and how you market yourself.
Take a time to build it all up, but but I do spend a lot of money. I don't know. Do you spend a lot of money?
No.
What,
on materials?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Are you like thrifty? Are you thrifty?
Well, yes, because I have to be, because it doesn't earn enough money at the moment. So I do a lot of sketching. I make a lot of collages, and I don't start painting until I definitely know one's going to work.
Okay.
Because it's easy to get discouraged if something. I started a Christmas one, which it was a lovely title. It made me laugh a lot, the title, and because I was going to put it on a Kickstarter, and I could not get the painting to work. I'd done the collage, but the colours, I don't know. I needed to really set something up, and that, as a reference style. but it involved a kitten, so that wasn't going to happen. So I'm going to come back to it, but there was a lot of flat areas. I hate flat colour areas.
Okay.
Because they're really hard to fill. And I've got a kind of hatching technique I use with watercolour, which works quite well, but it doesn't always come off. It only works for skies and pale colours. But this was like an indoor Christmas tree scene. And so anyway, coming back to that, so no, I try very hard not to... Because, I don't know, your materials are probably expensive. I mean, you use a lot of spray cans.
There's definitely a lot of glitter as well.
Definitely glitter, colours, and obviously the licensing, the huge licensing deals you've got going on there.
Do you ever get any licensing threats?
Not at the moment. But I don't know. At the moment, I'm playing with the whole mashup idea, so I'm trying to remix as much as possible. I see a lot of street pop artists. They go, "Yeah, I'm going to do this character, this character, this character," and I'm interested in how can I twist it, turn it, and play with it. But also going back to the whole titling thing, a lot of the titles aren't self-referential. So I'll do something and it'll have like the title of a piece of music instead of. So it's not like I'm using the title as a label for that image. So then it changes the I tried to change the context of it. Conceptually, I suppose. So that's the other thing that I kind of play with. But yeah, I don't know. I love this whole remixing of things at the moment. I see myself as a kind of like DJ of pop culture. So I'm taking a bit of that, a bit of that, a bit of that, and I'm kind of throwing it together. I've done the kind of... I can do portraits of people. You get that. You get asked, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do this?" And now that I'm remixing and playing with the idea of like recontextualizing, revisiting, rethinking, and also playing with the idea that of the memory of that image. So maybe that memory of the image retransformed into something else. It's a bit like a dream where you think, "Oh, I remember that." But you know what it's like when you have dreams and you wake up in the morning and you think, "Did that happen? Did it not happen?
Yeah.
Was it real? Was it not fucking real?" I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of like playing with that kind of space between. I don't know.
But how do you get to these ideas? How do you get to, right, I'm going to do this mashup? Is it something that's kind of...
Sometimes it's spontaneous. The oil pastel drawings in the studio, they're just literally thrown up, like totally off the top of my head. So if you go on my Instagram, you will see a lot of like the oil pastel drawings. It was mainly because my friend Josh said to me, "I've never seen you do any drawing." And I was like, "Right, I'm going to fucking give you some drawings now." So I did these drawings and I was like, "Right, I'm going to mix that up and play with the drawing context." So yeah, I've had so much fun doing the oil pastel drawings. But I try and do, every time I go to the studio, I go, "Right, I'm going to do a new drawing. I'm going to do a new drawing." They don't all work. Some do and some don't. But I'm pleased with what's coming out at the moment. So it's another strand to the painting practice, the printmaking practice, and the canvas making practice. So this, I think, because but all kind of, they're all the same sort of ideas anyway, sort of thing. But I love the idea of like the mashup, the remix, the bootleg. I love bootleg. I did a whole series of bootleg paintings. So I've done a Chris Opie remix. I've done like Matisse. I've done Cours as well. I called it After Cours, so it was just like after Matisse, after Banksy. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, I've kind of like the cheap version. So there's a famous artist, I can't remember his name. I'll have to Google it. And he does a series of bootlegs. So he bootlegs everybody, and he sells the bootlegs on the street as well, and he sells them in galleries.
What do you mean bootleg? Like copying an artist's
Yeah, he
style?
literally copies it, but he'll do like a... I'll have to Google his name. And see, you can tell this podcast is totally unhinged.
So do you spend a lot of money, Ian?
Not so much on the art side. It's more because I want to get... I don't have the means to get the quality print that I want at home, so I get them printed.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I like
costly.
to get them on especially G-clay prints, and I like them to be around 30 to 40 centimetres to kind of get a good size print anyway. But I only do like 50 of each, so I always keep them limited.
the bootleg artist that inspired me was his name's Eric Doeringer, and you can follow him on Instagram. And he's he
looks like a rat crim.
Yeah. But Eric, right? He literally his whole practice is just bootlegging everybody. But he said, he said, according to this is in the New York Times. I've never actually had to go to court over one of these things. Said last week. But yeah, Eric, if you get on your Wikipedia or on your Google, but check out Eric Doeringer's work. I love his work because he's just like. When I was in art school, we had to do an essay, and it was called "Why is it difficult to define postmodernism?" And I love that essay. It was just the best essay I got to write when I was in art school. I know we all had essays, and like, I didn't like that. And then you came out of it, and you thought back many years later, actually, why is it difficult to define postmodernism? Because a lot of artists think, I'm being avant-garde, I'm being new, and then you realise that a lot of stuff isn't new. It's a bit like many years later, like kids now in like 20 years' time will listen to songs and they'll go, "Oh, that's new." No, that's a remix of that song from the 60s. So there's nothing new.
It's the same thing's been happening for us because we thought we've discovered a new song, but it's done by someone else and they've made it into another type of track. It's just it seems like a generational thing that keeps happening.
So, but then I played with the idea of the remix because there was always when I used to go to Woolies when I was a kid and used to buy CDs and it'd be like, they've done this remix and they've got Aphex Twin to remix it or something else.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it's kind of part of culture now. It's accepted. But interesting, in visual art culture, they go, hang on a minute, you're ripping someone off here, aren't you? Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's because it's intellectual properties, I suppose, isn't it? But I think they have to prove damages with IP. I know people can stop using trademarks.
Yeah.
But I think intellectual property... Well, I mean, your work, Barrie, is so out there that there's no way anyone would mistake any of that for the original stuff.
You do see it and you think, that's a Barrie J. Davies, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly, and he's an artist.
Do, yeah.
I got to ask you a question, Fanny Fielding, about... I did see it on Instagram about the snatch phrase. What happened with snatch phrase?
I started doing some. They were just kind of little.
Only tell us what you want to tell us.
Little flippant posts.
Yeah.
Which were collages. I was making collages, and of me, for instance, standing in a bucket, and it was catchphrase. That was the idea. Say what you see. See what you say.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Any idea what it is, Ian? So what is the phrase there? It's me, Fanny, standing in a bucket. Say what you see.
I don't know.
I'm sure people...
can I say it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bucket Fanny.
There you go. It's not hard. And I did... and I did another one the other day, and I was sitting there. I think I just posted it on Facebook, and I thought, you silly Billy, this should be called Snatch Phrase, because I didn't want them all to be have Fanny in, have me in. So I thought I could spread it a bit more and have general genital references. So I thought, let's call it Snatch Phrase. But I didn't want to do it right out of the blue, so I made that up. ITV Productions Limited did not actually get in touch with me and asked me to change the name. But I thought it looked quite good, and I enjoyed it.
I think it's a good idea.
Sometimes it's good. The myth's better than the reality. You're spinning the story there.
Well,
fantastic.
Did I do well?
You did well.
Okay.
You hooked me in.
Yeah.
It's only now I've only just found out about it. That's brilliant.
Do you ever, when you see the stuff that Barrie posts, do you ever notice the when he does these little videos and there's like you're looking at the video and then all of a sudden you just see Barrie flying across the screen?
Yeah, I love it.
They're brilliant.
I love it. What do you make those on?
So basically, all the videos, if you follow me on TikTok or on my socials, so I kind of edit them in like Adobe or a bit of in movie. So yeah, Adobe. There's so much. Yeah.
You use Premiere?
Yeah, I've got Premiere.
Okay.
Premiere Rush?
No, I've got Premiere Pro.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was driving home one day and I was like, I've done Photoshop since like '97, and I was like, and I'm still trying to learn how to get into After Effects as well. So I've worked out how to layer stuff up as well. So it's my online persona is it's a bit like a performance art thing as well. So when I went to art school, I wasn't in the painting department, I wasn't in the sculpture department, I was in time-based, aka time waste, as they called it at the time. So there was a lot of people making things out of things that like video and installation and stuff, and we didn't even know what it was. We were just I'm part a maker of things. Hence, when you come in the flat, you've seen so many artworks. But I'm still at heart a performance artist, because there's something about storytelling and a spectacle, and there's still comedy in it, and there's something you've got to keep people engaged. So that's kind of the thing that's I've kept perpetuating. I may go back to. I've done some performances in the past. So one of my favourite performances was the Sulkathon, where I invited everybody to come and sulk with me outside Cardiff City Hall, which is brilliant. You know what I mean? And it got onto like Radio 2 and got on to page 3 of the Metro.
Did you give them any motivation to sulk, or was it?
No, because I think if you put something out there, I think even if I was to recreate it again, which would be hilarious, I reckon people would have something to join in about. And a lot of people came up to me and said, I'm not happy about this, I'm not happy about that. And it was kind of giving people a space, and obviously using media, so social media, using TV, radio, and putting a press release out there, you amplifying something. So it's a bit like, it's I think a lot of news stories now, you can see things blown up very fast and then disappear very quickly.
Well, if you put thon on the end of anything, I mean, it's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but I like the idea of like, how can I take something very small and blow it up really big?
Okay.
But then you're questioning what the thing is and the reality versus what the TV. It's a bit like when you meet your favourite sort of celebrity or musician or something, and you go, yeah, he's really nice, and I've seen him on TV and I've seen him at gigs and stuff, and you go, yeah, he's a nice guy or nice lady. You know?
I have that fear though.
And then you go, don't meet your celebrities.
Yeah, Ronnie Corbett was a twat.
Do you know? My this is a story I should be saying. My dad told me this story, and he was saying that he used to be a postman in London years and years ago, and he said he on one of his routes he delivered to Ronnie Corbett, and he parked his van on his drive, and he came running out. No, go and park your van on my drive.
Okay.
This is private property, and it's like, well, you don't get your post then, do you? I'm only here for a second to drop it off.
So not just me then?
Yeah, I've never met him personally, but I don't know if he is just... It might have been an off day. He might be a nice guy on other days, but yeah.
Well, he made me feel tall. But I was only 2 inches taller than him, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've met loads of like artists. I met Jeremy Deller. He's really cool. I've met Martin Creed. I've met a few sort of Turner Prize winners and stuff like that, and I know a lot of cool artists, and most are pretty down to earth. Martin Creed's probably the artist I've met who's even more bonkers than I can't pigeonhole him at all.
Is he like that in real life?
Yeah, he is. I went to an exhibition when I was trying to talk to him, and he just kept moving around the room. But he's one of my favourite artists, and I was like, me and my girlfriend, we went to a show in Mayfair that he had. I forgot the name of the gallery again. And it was before I was in the postcard show for the Royal College of Art, and he was like, I couldn't pin him down. And I've met him before when I was a student. And he had a show in Southampton City Art Gallery, and he's like, "Oh, can I take your picture and stuff?" He's wild, but I love his work because it's very hard to position him. And you don't know whether he's taking the piss or he's being a comedian or not.
He's taking the piss, but it's funny. He catalogues everything, doesn't he? He stubs out a cigarette and he'll give that a number in his his catalogue.
Everything's and then also the numbers he misses are nothing. So it's all about something and nothing.
Ah.
So when I was doing my master's degree, I quoted him on my dissertation because it was all about art and systems. So he had a system to make his work. He had to make something, or he doesn't make something. So, and I was also reading Being and Nothingness by Jean-Paul Sartre as well. It's getting all intellectual and stuff. You do get thrust into this when you do master's degree. Kids at home, beware. And but I loved the fact that he was somebody who was, and he would make something and go, but it's not art. And that's the only thing about Martin Creed is he doesn't say whether it's
about
art.
his own work.
Yeah, he just says
That's
I
interesting.
do things, and I like that idea that because then I think there's a lot of thing with modern art. It's like, is it art? And he's saying, well, it's not art. It's up to you. I don't know. He's like that, and I like that about him. But then there's things that Jeremy Deller does, which are more like performances or happenings or things or carnivals. You know what I mean? Plays with British culture and stuff like that. But some people would go, but I can't put it on the wall, and that spins people out, sort of thing. So,
Did you get on alright with them when you met him?
Yeah, they're really cool people. Do you know what I mean? They're obviously like private views. They're kind of whizzing around and stuff like that. I usually find the people that are not so important, the more pretentious and the more
Fake it till you make it, sort of thing.
up their own backsides. You know what I mean? The people that actually are, doing really well, they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? They're alright. You know what I mean? So.
Now, some people, I just feel like you need to keep yourself grounded because anyone's a potential buyer, really. Anyone's a potential fan or anyone's a potential, you could be inspiring somebody to be an artist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I know you may be having a bad day, but you're in the public eye if you're putting your art out there, aren't you? So if people want to meet you, it's hard to be.
But you don't do a heck of a lot of social media.
No, I don't.
Because I think I gave you a little stalking before.
Oh, right. Okay.
And a lot of your posts seem to be older. Like not one for months, basically.
Yeah, at the moment, it's just because I've just had like a bit of a busy schedule with trying to get things ready for my show that's coming up on the 27th of November. 27th of October. I'll get the date right. 27th of October. It's going to be a Halloween show where I'm going to put out 10 new paintings, and it's going to be fancy dress for the private view and music.
It's in a fishing place?
Yeah, the Fishing Quarter Gallery. Yeah, on Brighton seafront.
I know it.
Yeah, it's a lovely gallery, lovely location, and it's just, it's easy to set up, easy to get things ready for, and it's go in.
I'm
come
looking
out.
forward to the show.
Yeah, I've got a lot of props and stuff, so it should be quite cool, like tentacles, spiders, and
now I get it. So it's like an installation as well.
Yeah, it's going to be
using the same inspiration type thing as the monsters in the painting.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't want to give too much away, but
sorry.
No. I mean, I brought it up. It's totally fine. It's cool.
Barrie can cut that. He never cuts these.
But it's
if you're available on the
27th of October to the 29th. I mean, the 27th is the private view. I think the tickets have all gone now. But the 28th and 29th are free, open to the public from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
But you can also send begging letters as well.
Please come along.
So why there in the fishing gallery?
I did one last Christmas, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I really liked it, and it was quite nice, easy to set up.
So it's a space they open up for artists, or is
it's available. I mean, they're quite. You have to book up a year in advance. So once I finished on Christmas, in the new year, I checked in and I said, I'll book up something again. And I just thought, this one's only for 3 days, because I thought I'd just do a long weekend, just to see what it's like. So I'd done a week last time, and do a long weekend this time. And I thought it would be quite nice, and I completely forgot about it. And then summer came along, and I was like, right, I've got that booked up. Better do something about that. And
so you've got
looking forward to
new work for it, or is it
new work? Yeah,
right,
a lot of new work. Yeah, I wanted to do. I didn't want to have any paintings that I had in from last time or anything similar. I just wanted to have everything new.
And can you tell us any of the creatures that feature?
A famous Japanese one will be
a
well-known Japanese monster. There'll be something on the Sea Life Centre.
All right. Okay.
And What else was there? I don't want to give away too much. Yeah, there'll be another. I don't know if anyone's scared or any arachnophobes out there, but there is some giant.
But this
spiders.
isn't a thing you can only do on Halloween, is it? You do it for the rest of the year as well.
I do, because I kind of mix it up with folklore and mythology as well, and I love reading up and researching the folklore behind things, and then all of a sudden, if I hear something on a podcast of folklore or read something or just someone's told me about, have you heard about this creature? And I'm like, oh yeah. Then if I could picture it, then I'll get it done and I'll go for it. But sometimes I'll put it on the list and I'm not sure what to do with it, and I put it on the back burner for a bit.
See, one of my favourite monsters still is, and I've not been to Loch Ness.
Okay.
Hang on, I think I know this one.
But I don't know, maybe it's quite cliche, but that is the only one I'm like, oh my god, I've got to go to Loch Ness.
Do you believe it?
Yeah, I kind of do. I do.
Because there could be some.
I do believe it. There's something happening. There's been enough shit going down with it. Do you know what I mean? It must be something going on there. Whether it's, I don't know, portal to a different universe, or this kind of a tunnel where this monster lives. I don't know. There must be some. So when I was a kid, I was about 14, 15, 16, whatever, and I started skateboarding, and I used to go to the library as well. I used to read all the books on the occult and stuff like that. And again,
Mr. Crowley.
I got them all that. They must have thought, we're talking Milford Haven Library in Pembrokeshire, right, where there's only a few books on this type of stuff, and I'm ordering the books in, do you know what I mean? I'm going, can you get this book in? Can you get... And the weirder the book, and the librarians are looking at me going, oh, the fucking weird kid's coming with the skateboard again, you know what I mean? Was he going to order, the Ouija board next, you know what I mean? Which I didn't do, but it was on that, that kind of spectrum. I don't know why, it was just because, maybe this is pre-internet, that's probably why. You know what I mean? I was like, but you used to go to the library, didn't you?
Yeah.
I did, anyway.
I still do, yeah. And I still go to Waterstones and places just to look to see if they've got unusual books.
But horror books used to be great. The books about horror films and monsters. Who didn't love those?
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah, definitely, because it takes you away. It's like, it's the escapism. It just is, it's magical.
And those the magazines like Fangoria, Monsters, I think it was called. And it's so. I can see how you're influenced by it because it's so rich.
And it's endless because there's years and years of it, and there's always newer ways you can interpret it because there's always other versions, and a lot of them were done on wood carvings and lino cut printings, and then you've got the paintings that were done for the movie posters as well. That they were never like brilliant pictures. They were just like, they seemed like they were rushed out to be.
But they're very collectible, though. That's
definitely. Yeah, there's a style about it. It wasn't like a photorealism picture. Do you know what I mean? It was always kind of, it had that graphic element before. Yeah. Computer graphics.
I used to collect those movie posters, but my mum hated me having them on the wall. I've still got some of them somewhere. The zombie guy Lucio Fulci, Italian zombies and stuff. My mum was like, "Get that down."
Serious?
City of the Living Dead. There's only a hand, I think, coming out of it.
Yeah, I know the picture.
I've got a nice Creepshow one, and I've got the Zombies Dawn of the Dead, and but I suppose they were kind of the first things that I saw as pieces of art, were film posters.
I used to collect flyers for raves that I'd never been to.
Like Dreamscape or Hellscape? Or
all that kind of Fantasia, all that kind of stuff. To me, that was like, it was all a bit trippy anyway. It was like, that was art. But I was maybe I was too young, or maybe lived in Pembrokeshire, I was too far away from everything. But that was like the thing I used to collect, was flyers. All the Gen Z now probably listen to this and go, what hell is this fucking flyer anyway? But yes, we used to have flyers, and they were big motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like A1 size posters. And they were just for some rave, it would probably cost you about 20 quid to get in, which is probably cheap now. I don't know, whatever. But I used to collect rave flyers and stuff like that. I had a...
Would you ever incorporate them into some of your art? If you still got them anyway.
I'm looking at your art, and there is, I
use the flyers.
Oh, the actual flyers.
Yeah.
So I got a request.
If you've got duplicates that you don't mind using.
Yeah. So, as you've obviously been to one of my exhibitions, there was a spray can that I sold. I've sold a few spray can pieces because what I do is recycle old spray cans. And a guy said to me, "Oh, can you do a rave can?"
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, So I went on eBay, and you can still buy the old rave posters. So I cut one up, made it into this kind of spray can. It was the old Helter Skelter, and it was wrapped around, and I kind of painted up and stuff like that. The irony is, the guy who wanted me to do it, it was like, I put it on the website, messaged him, yeah. Somebody in California bought it. So work that out.
Before he could get his hands on it.
Yeah, and it was, I literally, I'm very democratic on my social media. I was like, I'll make something, and if someone's interested, I will message them and say, look, it's available. And somebody else in California bought the rave can, and he didn't buy it. But it was brilliant, because somebody else bought it, and it was obviously for a lot more. I'm not going to talk prices anyway. But it was just like, but the idea was there, and I said to him, I've done it. I'll never hear back from him. But it was weird, because
Did you like doing it? Was it something that you enjoyed doing?
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know, because I use a lot of spray paint, and I've always got cans lying around the studio, and I'm always trying to think, I'll make this can and make this can. I thought, it's just a different can.
Okay.
So they are very, very collectible spray cans for artwork. If they're empty, they do rattle when you go to the post office. We're not going to discuss this now because they have a very strange issue. Anybody who sends aerosols through the post. That's what I remember.
Oh, I get in trouble at the post office with my Fanny art stickers on the
just tell them it's a sculpture and
that's a good idea.
They don't know what's inside. You tell them it's a sculpture. It could be
because it is in a way.
It is. So that's my 3D kind of work that I make. So I recycle spray cans and I make them into characters. So I've done all the big eye ones, and I like playing around with them. But the spray cans are like quite good fun. Have you done any sculpture?
Not great. At college, I would have done. I've done some sort of stuff. But
did your work in a 3D space?
No, I've done. Well, recently, it was during the pandemic. I did an installation. I got asked by one of the doctors because I work as a resident artist at Wellesbourne Healthcare as well, and during the pandemic, she started to fold origami cranes for people that she knew of who had passed away. So she approached me and said, "Would you kind of make use of these cranes in anything?" So I said, "Well, we can make a murmuration of them," and we managed to get the spire in East Brighton over Kent Town Way, and I designed it as like the Starlings over the West Pier, that they have that murmuration thing, and I set it up, but it was painstakingly just line after line of stringing the origami cranes on these strings hanging from the ceiling of the church, and it was only on for a week, but it was a big installation, and it got interest on the BBC News and ITV, and it was really, really good, really moving. And there was a part where people could write messages to the loved ones, and a lot of people would write messages of people they'd lost in the cranes, and we hung it up, and it was really beautiful, and I was honoured to do it. Really, I'd not done anything of that scale before, and I'm normally just a painter,
and it's
thing.
Quite serious,
and it's a serious thing, and it was just, but it kind of, I look at it back of it now, and it kind of merges into the kind of art I do, because there's like a folklore about origami cranes. If you fold over 2,000 cranes, and there was over 2,000 in the installation, that you will get your wish, or would come true of what you've folded that many. So you can have it's for like there's a folklore behind it that kind of the meaning behind it is quite beautiful, and it kind of coincided into my art because of the folklore that I do and stuff. But it was an honour to do it, and I was bricking it when I was doing it because I'd never done anything like that, and on that scale, and it filled the church.
I love those projects where you're not sure if it's going to come off,
but
until it's finished.
But then you've got your reputation on the line as well. You think, I don't want this to tarnish. Like I can do however many pieces of art now, going back to that, and then everyone's thinking, but you did that shit installation, didn't you? And it'd just be terrible. I just would never live it down.
Also, it's collaborative as well.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to. Because you feed off each other, and you kind of have that thing where if you're not too sure about it.
Any sculpture, Fanny, for you? Or is there any sculpture?
There was an open call for St Anne Wells.
Oh yeah,
the park. They needed a sculpture for outside. So I came up with this. It was just an audio piece basically, which little bells ringing that I was going to call "Tinkling in the Bushes," but it had to be vandal proof, and you had to, check it was still in good order a year. I just couldn't make the numbers work, but I would have liked to have. I thought it'd have been quite good to have it in a different medium.
Dictaphone, just playing it. In the
Well, the idea really was that I'd have like bits of metal that would knock together, and they could be. And then I thought, well, how can you make it vandal-proof? It have to be in a cage, but the budget, you just couldn't.
It's hard to keep that budget as well.
And we're dealing with public art,
exactly. And I thought it doesn't. You don't need to. I don't care if I make money on it or not, or spend a bit on it. But I just thought it's just going to get trashed. And that would be a huge waste of an incredibly deep concept.
Plus, there's also the safety element as well that you have to be considered of, like the general.
Oh, that
public.
was all in there. Yeah, no, it was ridiculous terms and conditions.
Horrible, isn't it?
Whereas if you're like, I don't know, I've done graffiti in my time, but like a lot of the little things I've done with the stickers I put them up. You know what I mean? And I was in an exhibition once, and they made my artwork into fridge magnets, and they put the fridge magnets all around this town.
Right.
I can't remember. And it was quite funny because they were like sending me pictures, going, "Oh, the fridge magnets here, the fridge magnets here," and that's my idea of public art is. Don't ask for permission. Or maybe I'm just a bit like, but it was weird. They had permission and they were doing that sort of around town. But I don't know. So.
Well, I've got a very nice follower that he does a lot of road trips around the country, and he takes a pack of my Fanny F.art stickers with him. I heart Fanny F.art, and he's put one on Ben Nevis. We've got one just at the base of the Angel of the North.
Wow.
And he stuck one at Clarkson's Farm, whatever that is, Diddley Squat Farm Shop.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's wonderful
How lovely is that? That's
because
really
I haven't
cool.
gone any further than Hove.
I've got stickers in Lisbon at the moment, and then, well, I always whenever I go to Shoreditch, I'll put stickers. I'll put stickers up everywhere. I've been doing it. The project I'd started, which is called Barrie Davies as an artist, the sticker project started in '97. So I was in art school, and I found that I could make this stamp. And this has been going on for a long time, and I was like, and then I could find out I could then print the sticker, and we got final stickers.
Oh, you print them yourself?
We used to,
okay.
And now I get a company to do the stickers for me. And I've been putting this sticker out since '97. So it's like, but it's changed from a kind of printed cheap shit thing, and it's just got more and more involved. Do you know what I mean? But the Barrie Davies is an artist, if anybody doesn't know, there's an artist called Keith Arnott. So Keith Arnott was a conceptual artist who died. I went to one of his shows, and he wasn't there because he was really, really ill. And he printed on the wall, Keith Arnott is an artist. So I just stole that and borrowed it, stole it.
And why do you use that catchphrase?
It was kind of like when I was in art school. It was kind of like I kind of decided already. Well, I decided when I was 6 years of age I wanted to be an artist. I was like, when I was in art school, I was like, no, I'm going to make a declaration. I was like, so I'm going to promote it further. So it's been a moniker thing on everything. So if you see it on my social media or stickers or t-shirts or whatever, it's kind of... but it also gives you a sense of purpose. Maybe it's a philosophical thing. It's like, it's quite zen in a way, because it's like, right, that's what I do. And maybe that's why as you said, I'm quite prolific and I get on with it. Because that's what I do. Nothing, just focus on that. And I've done lots of different things in my life, but doing art is what I want to do. So I don't know. But I was checking out, there's an artist, you may not have heard of him, called Jim Joe, who's a street artist in New York. And Jim Joe will write, Jim Joe is not here, and on the wall. Jim Joe does this. And I thought, hang on, Barrie Davies is... Do you remember when Facebook started, you could write, I could always write Barrie Davies is... ...
Yeah, that's right.
And I always thought, why don't Facebook bring that back? Where they could give you that was their status update, and I really like that. So it's, Jim Joe is kind of like, Jim Joe is not here. You'd write things like that. But he's quite, if you check him out on Instagram, Jim Joe, there's Jim Joe Archive, and he just kind of it's very, very basic, just graffiti in New York. And I was like, I kind of like, he was writing his status update, but sticking it on the wall. Do you know what I mean? But it was a bit like Jean-Michel Basquiat when he collaborated with El Diaz and they did Samo. And when he wanted to kill it off, Samo was dead. It's another thing that happened. So, yeah, Barrie Davies Artist is just kind of it's a statement. You know what I mean? No one's, and it kind of, it's stuck and it works. And I don't think I'd kill it off. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah.
I like it.
It does work.
But I don't know, in marketing terms, it's kind of like you have your strap line. I don't know. Has Fanny Feeling got a strap line?
Yeah. How did you come up with the pseudonym?
The name Fanny Fielding?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. When I decided to follow an art path, I was creating animated canvases. Basically, they were made of lots of little frames, and they'd change, and I'd film them. They're still on Instagram. Gary Mation is the account, and each frame was a separate painting on an A1 canvas, and they'd animate it. I thought it was quite good. Never sold any. Didn't get many followers. So I thought, I'll try and promote this a bit, And what I need, first of all, I need a good website and a good domain name. And I saw that you could get .art.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
So I thought, okay, yeah, Gary Carpenter, for that is my actual name. Gary Carpenter .art, that would be good. And just when I was looking through them, I thought .art. I was just like, I wonder, tippy tap tap, and Fanny F .art had not been taken.
Amazing.
However, 5 minutes later, I was the proud owner of it, and I thought, well, okay, what are we going to do with that? And that was how Fanny Fielding was born as a character. And so originally I thought, okay, well, I'll use it as a viral to promote this art, the animated canvases I'm making. Yeah. And the idea was just one page, and I was going to have 3 pictures on it, and because I hadn't opened it out, and I was so literal, I thought they all had to be basically based on Fanny farts, and so I had an idea of one which is a watermill called Queefington Mill. One with a duck called Bubbles from Down Below. There was another one as well. So around tell me if I'm going on too long. Around the same time, because that was as far as I'd gone with it, and I was watching a few documentaries about. I'm really attracted to maverick characters that don't play the game.
Okay.
One of them was Frank Sidebottom. I don't know if you know him. He was a comedian, had a big round head.
Oh, yeah.
Documentary about him and how he'd suddenly, the actual guy, Chris Seavey, I think his name was, and how Frank had been created. And then kind of was like, oh, why don't I actually make this the character that I do? And then another documentary, no, it wasn't. It was a video by Mr. Bingo, who is an artist.
Mr. Bingo.
You met him? Great, and he has this presentation called Mr. Bingo's something like 37 or 57 Rules of Life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of those rules was people like to buy stupid things.
Yeah, they do.
And I thought, I wonder if they're like my stupid things. So I cobbled together a website. I think I built it on Squarespace. And I sent it.
Not sponsored by Squarespace.
It's not, no. Yeah, other shops
domains.
are available. And so I built the website. It was average. And I think I must have sent it around places. I sent it to Pop Bitch, which is a newsletter that specialises in celebrity gossip.
Okay.
And I just said, you might like to look at this. And I just put the domain name. That's how I normally do things, just send the domain name. And they clicked it, and it featured in Pop Bitch. And this was a week after I made the website. Cool. And it got something like 120,000 hits.
Fuck.
Yeah, I know, bonkers. And I wasn't ready. I did have prints. I was selling prints at that point, but I was an idiot. I really should have held back on that because at the time I didn't have an engine to capture people for a newsletter. There was, I think I had a Facebook page or whatever. Yeah. And so that initial burst, however, the first one that I sold, I was blown away. And I think it was someone in America bought it. I hadn't even thought about postage and how to get it there. So that was a good weekend. So basically, that was how Fanny Fielding came about.
That's cool.
She was born.
It was just something on
from a .art in. Yeah.
Well, just from a domain search. Yeah. And I never did get Gary Carpenter.art.
I've been through .com, .co.uk, and I'm on .info at the moment. Yeah.
Have you got them all then?
No. No, I did .com, and then I ran out of money for that one, and then I remember having .co.uk. So there used to be this website called Mr. Site.
Mr. Site, you can never get your domains back off them.
Yeah, and Mr. Site was crap. And for those who like websites, I use Shopify at the moment. That just works for me. So, where's your website with? Is it WordPress?
I'm with WordPress. Yeah, I quite like it. It's okay, and I've got the domain name of beavart.co.uk. So I was quite pleased to get that, but I can't imagine many people will be wanting beavart.co.uk. But you never know.
Where's the name come from?
Well, originally, since art and music has been like side by side for me growing up, and I'd always played in bands and played in different garages, crap venues to good venues and whatnot. But over the time, because I was just eager to get things going with bands and with songs, and because my surname's Lever, they just called me Eager Beaver, and then it just kind of progressed into that, and then even my family call me Beav, and my nephews, and everyone calls me Beav. It's stuck, but I like it. I prefer it than my normal name, to be fair now.
See, when I was in art school, and maybe pre-being art school, it was always Barrie Davies, and there was an artist called Paul D. Miller, aka, and he's a DJ called DJ Spooky, and I was really interested in
Good
DJ
name.
Spooky, and he always used Paul D. Miller, and I was like, well, there's loads of Barrie Davises out there, so I put the J in the middle of the name. So obviously you're not changing your name by default, but you're using just another thing in the middle of the name. So I put Barrie J. Davies. Because there's loads of... I'm from Wales, there's loads of Barrie Davies, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what's weird? Like, whenever I say about your art, I'll say, have you checked out this artist? I always say, have you checked out Barrie J. Davies? I always say the full name. I don't know why.
I
could just say Barry's work. But it's like, no, I always end up saying Barrie J. Davies. So there's something in that, of putting that letter in there.
I kind of branded myself. I don't know. Evening. Who's got text messages? See, you can tell this podcast is unrehearsed.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I've got something to do. No, not. Thank you for setting an alarm.
Right. Okay, guys, we're up to about an hour now. So should we call it a day then? Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's It's been great. Thanks for having us on
That's
your,
all right.
on your podcast. I really enjoyed it.
I think we may have to do this again. It's a bit more like a drink cast, but anyway. But yeah, so.
Why not?
But anyway,
Oh, no, it's been
if you enjoyed listening to our podcast and you want to know more about the amazing artists we have Fanny Fielding. What's the website address?
fannyf.art.
And you're on Instagram at
Instagram fannyf.art. Twitter X Fanny_Fielding. Facebook Fanny Fielding Art. And TikTok fannyf.art. And Lemon8.
Oh, right, yeah, I'm on Lemonade. Are you on Lemonade?
No.
Oh, Lemonade.
What?
Yeah, you get free lemons with it. No. And Ian, you're on social media at? Web?
Instagram, Beav Art.
Yeah.
And my website is beavart.co.uk. And
You're doing threads, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing threads, yeah, and that's the same as
How's that
Instagram.
working out for you?
Not too bad. It kind of play a game on there with like emojis and kind of guess my art by my emojis, what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it gets responses. It's slow, but I started to see there's a lot of people posting algorithm things now. That's picked up on there, hasn't it?
There's no hashtags on threads, though.
No,
it doesn't work.
there isn't, is there?
Don't work. So yeah, I'm Barrie Davies on everything, so that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, all right, thanks for listening, and next podcast we're going to have loads more cool people. But anyway, thank you for listening, and I know this has been a long one today, but anyway, over and out. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.